Okay, so today I'm going to just be looking at the West Point middle distance from 2019, and I actually got to run in this race, and I think it was a really good race, at least for my season this year, is because we had so many good runners, and there was a lot of competition, at least in North America. So I'm gonna just look through the race. It's been maybe two or so, 2 or 3 weeks now since the race. And I'll make one more video on the long also. So let's see if I can. Okay. So here, so looking at the first leg, I remember when I was at the start, one thing I did was I actually looked out at the runner or two runners ahead of me, which direction they started in, because we could see. You can often do that in races. Sometimes if you can't see where the start triangle is, or then it won't quite work. But at least you can get the sense of the direction of where the start triangle is so that you don't have to stop and look to find it on the map, and you can just start heading straight towards it. So I remember that I saw Eric Kemp running down this road. So I started to do that too right as soon as I flipped the map over. And then once I found the leg, I just kind of started with a compass bearing ish. It wasn't fantastic. I was a little bit high, and then I hit this rock here. And that's kind of where I relocated. So I remember coming down here through the marsh, and then the problem here was that there are no features to read off of. And so that's why I kind of just kept going straight on a compass bearing, which was because I was a little bit south. It was just parallel with the line. And so then I hit this, and I was able to continue down into it. For route choice, it looks like here Greg Allsweet and Robbie Graham, they came down and took the trail right off the bat. Because the forest is so white, I think it didn't really matter. And attacking it from here is about the same as from here. It was a good leg though. Okay, and so if we look here, then we can see how about similar it is. So I'm the dark red or burgundy kind of color. But yeah, basically. And then everybody was coming up here. So some people went more into the green. I tried staying more right on the line and coming straight up. So I think I had a little bit of a time gain, and I was kind of close. And then here I was a little high, and I came over this hill, but it wasn't an issue because I didn't lose too much time. I'll keep it zoomed out. Here, everybody took the trail and then just popped into the control. I kind of nailed this one pretty well. And it's interesting how Sergey here, he kind of pulled ahead. I didn't really notice that. But then I decided to come back down on this leg to the trail rather than coming straight up, because I knew the trail would be fast and then there would be white and I'd kind of know where I was. I didn't know he got so far ahead here. But anyways, then we all kind of come in, and I remember I had a little bit of a hesitation here, and so I slowed down a bit. So the next leg was, I think, a deciding kind of leg, and I ran it very well. I think I gained a lot of time on people here. So here I was a little bit behind or with everyone else, but I stayed more down lower, and everybody else was either staying high in the green or just under here. But because I was able to run by, I saw this X, and then I came straight up into this boulder field and then into the control. And here it looks like I was give or take in the lead. I feel like the GPS is a little bit off, but I definitely ran that leg very well. And then here, Greg Allsweet kind of comes down. I remember Eric Kemp was a minute or two ahead of me, and so I kept seeing him, and I was trying to catch him for a lot of it. So here, Christian and I are basically tied completely. And I had a little bit of a swerve here. That was a little bit of a wrong direction. But it wasn't too bad. And then here I was trying to find the white, just like Christian and Greg did, and then come up it. And I was a little bit left, and then I came up into it. Yeah, and it's just us up here, I think, having such a clean run throughout all of this is one of the, with like basically no hesitations, was making the difference. So here I was like, I think these tails, they're not a minute. I don't know how long the tails are here. But I was definitely a little bit ahead of Robbie Graham. And so here there's a root choice leg. And this was one of my only mistakes. And I'll come back and we'll compare the root choice. But I wanted to come straight, and I thought I could gain some time by cutting it here. But this isn't quite mapped perfectly, and it gets very green there. And I lost about 20 seconds coming up. Yeah. And then here we can see how Christian is pulling a bit ahead. Robbie managed to cut this, but it was basically the same. And Greg is just kind of further ahead. So I climbed a little bit too much, and then I had a hard time coming into the control. So Robbie kind of definitely took that a little bit better. And then I didn't have the best kind of bearing and direction here. So I actually added a lot of distance on here, and I came out here. There was just a kind of an indistinct trail, so I was kind of following that. Yeah, and then here was my second mistake for the whole course. I took the route choice, same with Christian. I decided to come up here and then attack down rather than going straight and contouring. Because the forest is so white, the contouring was definitely better. You can see here I didn't catch any time on Robbie, and I just lost a little bit more time. And so, yeah, I think these tails are 30 seconds. And then here, the rest was very good. Yeah, so that was kind of my race. I had two slight mistakes. I feel like the course was a little bit easy because just in terms that most people here had basically a perfect race. Like we didn't see any big or slight mistakes here. Here, definitely the route choices were left, right, kind of straight. I wouldn't say that was a route choice. But I know here, this slope, it was just full of like dark, impassable green. And coming down here was fine. The bottom was fine. But this slope killed me because I had to basically walk. And I lost like 20 seconds right there. But like my attack into it and then up was pretty good. And then here, it was definitely, here you took about 3 extra contours of climb, which is about 15 meters, if you took this higher route, and here you'd basically take no extra meters. And what I didn't like about it was it seemed technical, and I didn't want to risk making or losing a mistake. I know I was running, I could see Eric Kemp here, and I think I gained a little bit of time on him coming up like this, and he went straight. But because he's a pretty good navigator, I should have gone straight and kind of ran him down like that. Instead of kind of using my speed up here to gain time. And also coming off wasn't bad because I could see this and then popping back down. But it was extra distance and it was extra climb. And so, yeah, it was a super nice middle distance course. I really like the technical section. I did a really good job, I think, personally, of coming out here. I forget, I don't have the splits up. Through this technical section, I think I did a pretty good job. But I think everybody did a really good job. And at least right now, we have, I think, a super good competitive number of runners, kind of in the elite category for male, and between Canada and the US. So it was really good. Jan Eric, he would have probably won the race, but this control was cut up, like the circle was cut up so that you could read kind of where you could get in between the cliffs. And I think he kind of saw this line as going to 8, so he ran straight to 8 and not 6 and 7. And so he missed punch, but he definitely had some of the fastest, or I think he won most of the splits. So yeah, so not everyone was here, but it was, at least in this video, but it was a really good race.